Once upon a time, there lived a young boy in a small village just below the hill. The boy was famous in the whole village for his laziness and weakness. All the villagers used to call him lazy because he lies under a tree all day, so he goes on taking naps and lucid dream about his future. His days were passing idly by. One day, a Buddhist monk came to his village. He was going to stay in the same village for the next 3 days. Buddhist monks spend the whole day begging and preaching to the people, and rest at night in the monastery outside the village, whenever Buddhist monks went for alms and returned with alms, so he found that young boy under that tree every time. Buddhist monks watched all this for 2 days, and he understood that this boy is a slave of mental laziness. On the 3rd day, the Buddhist monk was returning with alms, so he went to the boy who was still lying under the tree. The monk said to the boy, "Son, I have a job for you. I want you to go to the top of that hill and get me a feather from there." The boy turned his head towards the hill while lying down and gazed upon its highest peak. Then, after he looked at the monk, and he scoffed and said, "This is impossible. I can't get to the top of that hill. I am very lazy." The Buddhist monk said with a smile, "Hey, but the feather I'm looking for won't be found even on the top of this hill. It will be found in the cave on the other side of this hill, for which you will have to climb to the top of this hill and get down on the other side. But it is not an ordinary feather. You would not have seen such a feather till date. It is a very rare and beautiful feather who spread its light." These words of the monk aroused curiosity in the boy. He had never heard of such feather before today, and thinking about such an exciting journey, he got excited inside. That's why he decided to accept the monk's challenge, and he started towards the hill, but the climb was very long and difficult. Soon the boy's body started getting tired, and he is getting breathless, and the body started sweating profusely. But he kept walking as he climbed upward. He started feeling happy and excited that he's never felt before. Finally, when he reached the top of the hill after hard work and long effort, so he was completely exhausted, but he was very happy. He was feeling satisfied inside himself. He had a warrior's smile on his face, like he won a fight. He looked down from the top of the hill, and before him was a very beautiful sight. He felt a sense of accomplishment within himself, what he's never done before. But the real challenge lay ahead. The boy had to get down the other side of the mountain and had to find the cave where Feather was said to meet. It's even more difficult and dangerous to get off, because the slope was too steep. The boy staggered and fell several times during the climb. So that fear was in him too. But for promising to bring wings to the monk, he kept on going ahead after much searching and hard work. When he finally reached the cave, then he saw that the feather was lying there, which was shining in the filtered light coming from the entrance of the cave. He picked up the feather but was struck by its beauty. He's been gazing to feathers for a long time, but suddenly he remembered that he still had to go back. He looked at himself. He was completely exhausted. He became worried how he would climb up the mountain and how to get wings to the monk. For a moment he thought about giving up. But then he remembered the sense of accomplishment and pride, what he felt when he reached the top of the hill. He realized that he had the strength and determination to complete this journey again. He started climbing the hill. He had ache in his muscles. Legs were shaking. Lungs are getting torn. He stumbled and fell many times, but he didn't give up. He was constantly pushing himself to push himself, after tireless effort and hours of hard work. Finally, when he reached to the Buddhist monk, and when he kept that wings in monk's hand, so there is no limit for his happiness. He felt that today, he got the control over his laziness, and he did something important. The Buddhist monk smiled, seeing the expression of satisfaction and happiness on his face, and said, "Well done, my son. You learned an important life lesson today, that laziness is not such thing which should be accepted or tolerated. Laziness is a challenge that must be overcome. It is a hurdle that must be passed. And to end the laziness, you must take your first step. You have to go towards your goal, and you have to keep going until you reach your destination. Understanding the depth of words of the monk and its importance, he shook him his heed in yes. Today he realized that he was capable to do big and greater things than he had ever been, but his laziness held him back. Now he knew that he had the power and resolve to overcome any obstacle and crisis that came his way. After this, the monk blessed that boy, then left that village. The lesson to be learned from this story is when we push ourselves to achieve our goals, then we discover within ourselves a strength and determination that we never knew before. We must challenge ourselves to overcome the laziness and set bigger and more ambitious goals. No matter how difficult the goal is, we must constantly keep pushing ourselves beyond our physical and mental limits. We must remain strong from within even in the face of failure and obstacles, making use our own rules and sticking to them. Discipline in daily habits and consistency in routine should also be developed. We can create certain good habits that can help us focus and staying active when you don't feel like it. Another important thing to tell apart, overcoming laziness means developing a growth mindset. It means seeing challenges and successes as opportunities for growth, not as a defeat. By adopting a growth mindset, we can take a new look to our thoughts of failure, and we can use it to improve and learn, and finally to overcome my laziness. You have to leave your comfort and accept the challenges and opportunities of life.